Well, due to popular demand, and with the help of your suggestions in the comments of the first video, here are another 10 unique stadiums from around the world. We start off with Stadion Vechurny Balog. Well, from up here it just looks like a regular field that you might see in any town around the world. But when you take a closer look, you can see something a little unusual. Yes, that's a train in the stadium. Where I'm from, you can't even bring in an unopened can of Pepsi. This team might be amateur, but they train harder than everybody else. Well, almost everybody else, as you'll see later in the video. Albertson Stadium. Well, I don't really have to describe what's unique about this stadium. Well, actually, for those that are colorblind, the field is blue, with a little bit of orange thrown in. Unfortunately, this has a bit of a sad story behind it. In the mid-1980s, there was an attempted military coup in Idaho. The governor was being sheltered in the stadium, protected by a brigade of elite Smurf soldiers. The Smurfs eventually won the battle, but sadly, 237 Smurfs lost their lives. The field isn't stained by Smurf blood or anything, it was just installed as a tribute to the Smurfs that made the ultimate sacrifice. Lest we forget. It was either that or they just wanted to stand out. Timza Arena.
Never smile at a crocodile.
Well, that is good advice, but I can think of another thing that's even worse for a kid to smile at. It also kinda rhymes with crocodile, if you catch my drift. Anyway, this crocodile is harmless, and armless for that matter. It does kinda look like a snake that's wrapped itself around the stadium. The inside looks pretty good, but there are no crocodiles inside, so boring. Estádio Janguito Malicelli is Brazil's first ecologically friendly stadium. The main stand is built into the side of a hill and is covered in grass. The stadium was built without the use of concrete. Instead, it uses crushed up baby capybara bones, which are 100% biodegradable. So hats off to them. Montreal Olympic Stadium was unsurprisingly built for the 1976 Montreal Olympics. They really went all out with this stadium. It cost 770 million Canadian dollars way back then. That's about 3.5 billion in today's money. As you can see, there's a huge tower that supports the roof via cables. It happens to be the world's tallest inclined tower. Take that, Pisa. I never understood why that tower is sponsored by the Chinese sportswear company Li Ning. Beneath the tower, there's an Olympic swimming pool, which makes it even more unique. Highmark Stadium is like the football equivalent of PNC Park, except less bridge action. No, not that bridge. Obviously, I'm talking about those bridges. And more train action as well. Yep, between the river and the stadium, there are train tracks. Once again, the Riverhounds may not be the best team, but they train harder than any other team by far. That wasn't funny the first time and it's not getting any better. Sorry to interrupt the video, but over 90% of our viewers are not subscribed. If you're a regular viewer and have not subscribed yet, please do. You probably won't regret it. Okay, back to the video. Deva Stadium. Now, you might be thinking, what's so unique about this stadium? It looks pretty normal. But it's the only stadium in the world where the main entrance is in a different country than the field. As you can see, the border skirts around the field itself, but cuts through that small section of the stadium. So you enter the stadium in England and take a seat in Wales. That's proper international football. Mabatho Stadium was originally built to be the national stadium of the self-declared independent state of Bophuthatswana Bantustan. But the blame for this atrocity lies with the Soviets, who were the ones that actually designed it. I can only imagine the designers thought that people watching was more exciting than whatever was going on the field. Because a lot of the stands aren't even facing the field, but just other stands instead. I just don't get it. Could have easily just extended the bottom part of the stand to be built in the same way. I don't understand those floating... Anyway, I can understand why the Soviet Union collapsed. They obviously didn't have a f***ing clue. Igualist Bateria. This waterfront stadium is located on a UNESCO heritage listed island and right next to a 15th century fort. I doubt any other stadiums can claim the same. These guys don't train hard like a couple of other teams in the video, but at least their matches are always hard fought. You see, I know these puns aren't funny, but I physically can't stop. It's a real problem. If any stadium comes close to the last one, it's Stadium Gospin Dolac. Not just because it's Croatian as well, but it's also located next to a fort and a lake. This is one of my favourite stadiums in Europe. It's situated on what used to be a steep valley, which was filled in with rocks and soil to create the stadium. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.